I've got my cup of tea, Gonzo. Well, that's a no. I've seen your face. You forgot. You've come to the cup of tea.
I drank. I didn't forget. I drank. There's a drag.
You come to the cup of tea with Geo Gonzo with no cup of tea.
Yeah, I got numerous sort of SMT. There's not a lot going on, Geo, if the truth be known, in the beverages department in the man cave this evening. I'm afraid to say.
Yeah, you've got a lot of mugs lying around there, haven't you?
I'm naughty like a teenager.
It's a bit like the West Brom squad, full of mugs, +1. But we'll get on to the +1 in a minute. How are you doing?
Yeah, mate, I'm all right. Thank you very much. Not bad. Firm and fruity, as always. What about yourself?
Cold. It's cold.
Are you braving a t-shirt?
It's not that cold. Anyway, right, coming up tonight's show, we don't have lots of content. We've got one big topic, and we've got a lot of questions. We're going to be a bit interactive on this one. First one back of 2021. We're going to ease ourselves in, if you like, gently. But Gonzo, sometimes when we do these shows, you sort of think what we're going to discuss, then our story sort of comes out just before we go live.
Yeah.
So that came out. The rumours were Sky Sports were saying West Brom in advanced talks to sign Robert Snodgrass. Then Robert Snodgrass himself has given us a bit of a cryptic tweet. Let's say cryptic, we'll get on to that in a second. But this first story, Robert Snodgrass, advanced talks with West Brom to head to the Hawthorns and battle relegation once again.
Yeah, it's well, I guess it's not a strange one. We're dealing with a player that's not good enough to play in our first team anymore. A player predominantly that played wide midfield, Geo, for all of his career. Joined West Ham as Dimitri Payet's replacement, which are tough boots to fill for anybody, let's face it. And really doesn't have enough pace anymore to be an effective wide player. So when he gets used, he has to be used in central midfield, and such as the performance levels of our two central midfielders at the moment, that it's just going to be impossible for him to get into the team because just the drop off in terms of standard is so low. Does that mean he's got nothing to offer? Far from it. He's still a wonderful set piece taker, which is probably what is alluring him to Sam Allardyce because. Well, there's a massive value in that, Geo, just the accuracy. And even when he wasn't, I do remember maybe last season, definitely was last season, there was a point where he wasn't particularly featuring in the team very much. But I do remember looking at it and his assists, had as many assists as anyone else, even though he hadn't really played very much. So clearly he can still be effective. Can he be effective for West Ham? No. Can he be effective for West Brom? I guess time will tell, but I understand why Allardyce would want to sign him, and I do wish him well, mate. I certainly do.
What about our squad numbers, though? I mean, they're a bit thin as it stands, and while he's getting sold technically to West Brom, we're going to be lucky to get 6 digits. I think we're going to anything over $250,000. I think we've done all right, to be honest with you. His contract's up at the end of the season. His transfer value's a lot nearer zero than $1 million, I would imagine.
Yeah, but it's going to be zero anyway. We're going to get nothing from him, and we're going to end up paying him £500,000 between now and the end of the season. So,
but at least we'll then have a player.
Well, I'd hope not. I hope he wouldn't feature in the first team. Really, to be honest with you, I'd prefer to see someone else. Central midfield. I'd rather see Connor Coventry play or somebody like that. I think if we are down to, and I don't mean that as any disrespect to him, and that's not. There's lots of things that you can say about Robert Snodgrass, his character, and that's a very rude mug, by the way.
You what?
That's a very rude mug.
How did you read it?
I just saw it then. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good job. It does actually say the words, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's very rude. Very rude. Where'd you get? You don't get that sort of thing in England. I can tell you that much.
It might be an English mug.
It might. It would be the first. It would be the first English mug. Put it that way. The character, lots of it. We've all seen him on the when the West Ham media department they wheel Snodgrass out quite frequently, and there's a good reason for that. He's got tons of character. He's a joker. He's a good laugh. He's good value. If you're running a club YouTube channel or whatever it might be, why wouldn't you have him? Well, absolutely. It's not so much that. So I don't particularly want to slag him off. I'm not going to slag him off. But if we find ourselves, West Ham, in a situation where we're reliant on Robert Snodgrass, which is what you're saying, our squad numbers are low. What if we have to rely on Robert Snodgrass? We are bang in trouble. And I don't believe the the narrative being peddled that we're not going to bring anyone in. Actually, we're starting to see a bit of a trend now, because we were told we weren't going to bring anyone in before Souček and Bowen came in. Then we were told that there was no money over. We weren't going to make any signs in the last one. I think this is all part of our ownership trying to be tight-lipped. I wouldn't put it past them if this is all part of it. And actually, there are a couple of players due to come in, and I think we have at least. We've at least borrowed heavily. If not, we have the facility where we've opened up the facilities to borrow heavily if need be. I did a video a couple of months ago, about us. I basically titled it, "Have we taken on £100 million worth of debt?" Now, we might not have taken all of that out, but the loan facilities are there for us to do that. So I don't believe that it's all day-to-day running of the club at all. So I think it still needs to be done, really, Gio.
Yeah, I can see both sides of it. I think that, to sum it up, when you talk about Robert Snodgrass, everyone says great character. They don't say great footballer anymore. Once upon a time they would have done, but now they use the great character thing to almost try and hide the fact he's just not quite good enough anymore. I agree. I don't want to see him in the first 11. I'm not being his biggest fan. I think he's been a good servant to the club. I think he was sort of given a shady deal by the club by coming in, and then Sullivan spouting out saying his sons begged him not to sign him, and he ended up calling the Sullivan out on Twitter, quoting a tweet saying, "Thanks for the support, Mr. Chairman," and it was all going wrong from early doors for him a little bit. Went to Villa, done really well, come back in, and he's done well for us. He's scored important goals, set up important goals for us, but I always think he's been an average Premier League player at best. And again, there's nothing wrong with that when you are a less than average Premier League club, which we have been while he's been here. But now we are moving on, and unfortunately he's someone we do need to move on. And I think we're just trying to get a few quid in before we let him go for free, save a bit of money on his wages. But I do think we leave the squad a little bit light. What do I want him to replace? Rice or Souček? No. But if Rice or Souček get injured, he's probably someone I'd call upon. I'd almost prefer, if we were playing on Saturday and Rice was injured, I think I'd prefer to see him than Mark Noble in the starting 11, to be honest with you. Now, I'm not saying I want to get rid of Mark Noble. I'm just thinking the last game, or 2 games ago, we had 2 goalkeepers on the bench. We have very little players at the minute. So financially it makes sense, but in terms of giving Moyes options, I think it's a bit risky unless we've got a player coming in for that position, or we've got a plan which perhaps is used for now as a centre midfielder, or we are going to bring Coventry into the first team once he's fit, but he's a long way away from being match fit. Connor Coventry, he's sustained his injury, he's only just back in training, I think, because he's got a while to go. I would have liked to have seen this done at the end of January, to be honest with you, Gonzo. I think I would have liked to have kept him just over the next 2 or 3 games. I understand West Brom perhaps won't want to play ball because they need him in ASAP. But I think if you've got the next 4 or 5 league games out the way, however many there is in January, before you let him go, I'd understand a bit more. I think it's a bit risky on our part. It's not surprising, though, is it? It's not a problem. Good on him. He's, like I said, not being the biggest fan of him, but great character, good laugh. He always gave 100%. Can't ask for anything more. And I'd imagine he's been quite a good leader in the dressing room at times. And for the youngsters coming up, that's someone if you were a manager, you'd point at Robert Snodgrass and say, copy what he does in terms of professionalism, and you'll be all right. But anyway, he still might not leave. It's all just rumours. But do you think Robert Snodgrass tonight, for those that don't know, those aren't on social media, someone put up a video a couple of hours ago of Robert Snodgrass's highlights at West Ham, if you like, some of his assists, his goals, put a little bit of a sad soundtrack over it, just standard, and then Robert Snodgrass quoted it and said this was the last thing he needed to see tonight with a sad emoji. Do you think that's him confirming he's off?
Yes, I would assume so, but yeah, it is. It's a funny one, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe he was just touched by the video. You did send me. I didn't click on the video, to be fair, for the exact reason that you said. I knew what it was going to contain. Like you see from the start of it. You're right. The moody music. I was sort of imagining. I'm imagining like the Celine Dion one from Titanic or something. I didn't listen to it. Some sort of moody, sad music and a teary Robert Snodgrass watching the video, saying goodbye to West Ham, watching his career highlights or his corners, as some might call it. No, I'm joking. Look, I don't know. He probably is off. Really good luck to him. Really good luck to him. And I'll tell you what, we said about the character. I said about the set plays. Maybe Allardyce has decided actually he needs characters in that dressing room as well. There may well be a lack of that. That being said, it's going to be bloody hard for him, whoever goes in there, because they are not looking clever at all. And I think even the save meister himself, the relegation buster, the Jurassic one, Cretaceous Sam himself, are going to struggle to save that team from relegation. So I think it may be one relegation scrap too far. But I do not blame Snodgrass. And let's be fair to Snodgrass, he possibly doesn't want to sit around, not getting into match day squads for the rest of the season. He's got a couple of years left of his career. He probably wants to play football. Probably wants to score some goals and do some stuff. And he was so yeah, he deserves that. And some players just come in, mate, and they leave, and they are wished well, and they are thought of kindly by the fans. And Robert Snodgrass will be one of those.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for him, actually. I think he could fit in at West Brom, but they're just lacking a little bit of star quality at the bit. I think it's a tough role for him, actually. I think West Brom are not too bad in the centre midfield, if you want to call him that now. They've got Conor Gallagher in there, but they're still playing Matt Phillips. Matt Phillips started the last game as captain in centre mid, so I can understand why Allardyce is bringing him in. And I'd imagine he's going to get at least an 18-month deal there, so it gives him an extra year of security in terms of finance in football, and he's either going to be playing for a Premier League club or a top championship club next season. So it's a good move for him. It's a clever move. And,
the irony if he boots Diangana out of the team.
I don't think surely he wouldn't start him on the wing.
I'm just saying it would be strangely ironic.
It would be funny, but I don't think Sam's too keen on Diangana anyway. He's hooked him.
Really?
He hooked him in the last game. It was the first sub he done. He took
someone in the team's got the same hairstyle.
What
someone in the West Brom's team has got the same hairstyle as Diangana.
Pereira's is similar.
No, it wasn't Pereira because I don't know.
Callum Robinson.
I couldn't remember.
It would have been Robinson or Grant then. I think it would be Callum Robinson. He's got that fluffy blonde.
He's got the bleach. He's got the bleach.
Yeah, I think it's Callum Robinson. I think it's Callum Robinson you're talking about. But anyway, Lundstrom. Do you think that's who's coming in? Sheffield United midfielder. We were linked with him for quite a while.
I hope not. I really hope not. No. Look, Geo, we place little stock by. Are you winding me up? Have you said that just to wind me up, or what?
No, I'm just wondering because we were generally linked with him not long ago, and he's out of contract in the summer, and we were linked with him. And the transfer rumour 2 months ago was he was going to cost us about £500,000, and it adds up a little bit. That's all.
I mean, it would be almost everything that's wrong. It's almost everything I don't want to see at West Ham. He's a big old lump, right? He's a big old lump, and he's of average pace at best. Average pace. This is not what we need. He is squad filling. I was going to say sandwich filling. He's not even sandwich filling. He's not even the main filling. He's not even the main bit, is he? He's not even the ham or the turkey, is he? He's a lettuce. He's a thick old chunky lettuce that we don't need in the sandwich. Quite frankly, I don't. Why would we get him? Because he's good? No. Because he improves the first team? No. Because he's cheap? Yeah. What a terrible reason to get him. Oh, he's so cheap, he's nearly free. Oh, brilliant. Is he fast? No. Has he got a trick? No. What's he do? Oh, he sort of bullies his way through a little bit. Oh, right. Where's he play? Oh, he's on the wing a bit. Do you know what I mean? A lot of time on the right. Oh, will he get in ahead of Bowen? No. Will he better than Yarmolenko? Oh, no. What's the bloody reason for doing it? Oh,
he's not that bad.
Sorry?
He's not that bad.
Oh, really?
I think
really? I watched his highlights video on YouTube.
Yeah, I bet you did.
It was 16 seconds long.
Yeah, I bet you did. What was he doing? Getting stuck in a bit of bread?
That had sad music to it as well. And Benny Hill. Yeah,
but if you look up Souček's YouTube highlights for the last 2 days, it probably consists of him eating a potato salad, and that's it.
And heading the ball, yeah, and heading the ball.
But I don't know. I think he's average. He's an average Premier League player, but that's what you're getting for £500,000, and that's what we are looking to replace. Our average Premier League player's leaving. We're getting in a younger average Premier League player.
Brilliant. A younger average player is not as good at kicking the ball. Brilliant. But welcome. But I obviously welcome him into the fold as a West Ham player if he signs, clearly, and I would hope for the best. And as somebody will probably be saying, if we do sign him, get behind the team. because I never do that. I never get behind the team, mate. And I would wish him well, and I would hope to be proven wrong on that score. But before we've signed him, may I just say I hope we don't.
Yeah, but anyway, right, we're ready. We're going to do a lot of questions tonight, so I'm going to start with Twitter, and then we'll be interacting with the live chat and let you guys just come up with the content. Because to be honest with you,
got nothing to talk about.
There might be some food questions and stuff. There's always food questions. Right. Rudy, Alan.
What are you up to, Alan? What are you doing?
Given Pablo Fornal's lack of goals and assists, but considering his superb defensive work, could he provide cover as a left wing back?
No.
He practically does that anyway.
Sorry. Yeah, indeed, you're right. He does. That's exactly what he does do. Sorry, I am mindful that last time, Alan, I remember made a question. I do remember saying no to him. So, Alan, hopefully next time it'll be yes. If anything, I want to see him. We discussed the cover for the two lads in central midfield, and Geo just alluded to the fact that he'd rather see Snodgrass in than a Noble. The fact that those are the two choices shows how Moyes has got it a little bit wrong there, because rather than seeing Fornals at left wing back, I would like Moyes to say, we don't need to bring that in because I'm going to start using Fornals in that position. So if one of those guys is out, Fornals is going to play central midfield. That's what I would rather see, and then he can work on some other things on, left back or left wing back or whatever.
Yeah, he sort of half plays there already. I wouldn't like to see it, to be honest with you. It's just a bit. Don't know. It just doesn't feel right, does it? It's. I don't know. No.
And you've got to be mobile as well. If you're just playing wing backs, if you're saying we're playing wing back like when we play with a 5 or a 3 at the back or whatever, you need to be mobile. It doesn't mean necessarily rapidly quick like Usain Bolt, but mobile, quick to turn, sharp, up and down. He's got the fitness, but he's not. If I was a winger, I'd be looking at Fornals, and particularly if he was the only guy on that side as well, I'd be thinking, actually, I won't even do a trick. I'm just going to knock the ball past him and create a race. Going to knock the ball 10 yards past him, create a race.
I don't think he's that good at tackling. I think he does a lot of tackles and he tries a lot of tackles, but I see him getting skinned quite a lot, and I see him commit fouls a lot as well. And it's often naughty little fouls he does. I reckon he stands on his opponent's foot once a game because he misses the ball, and he just stands on their foot, but he doesn't slide tackle, so he gets away with it a little bit. And it's okay if he's left mid because there's a lot of yards behind him, but if he's left wing back and sometimes the last port of call in defence, I think he'd get skinned a lot. I think he'd be giving away free kicks in pretty dangerous areas, actually, because he's just a bit clumsy. Being willing to tackle is all fine and well, but actually sometimes a lot of defenders don't tackle for the reason that's better off just to jostle, just try and guide a player somewhere. As Fornals would dive in and get skinned, and all of a sudden you're looking at him going, oh, crikey. So no, not to that one, Alan. Silly Alan. Dylan says, with West Brom's nervous fling with potential relegation this season, if they do go down, do you see us potentially moving to get Diangana on the cheap again?
No, I don't. And why would we in that sense? And I think it's a little bit of a shame what's happened. I think the silence from all of us is about Diangana. The outrage that's turned to silence is almost a deafening silence because it shows how badly it's worked out for him, and we look at that now, and actually I would, now he's gone, I didn't want him to go, I wanted to stay and it's to work out, but the fact that he was deemed worthy of sacrifice, for want of a better term, shows that Moyes maybe didn't have him in mind in his first team plans. And now he's gone and we do have Ben Rama. I would rather us just persevere with that. He's in here now. Let's make that transfer work. And I think almost it's the last thing we need at the moment is a left winger.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was gutted to see him go. Still wish he was still with us, to be honest with you. Well, he's not been amazing at West Brom. I think he was largely he had a small injury, but West Brom Slav changed formation at one point, which meant he didn't have a winger. He switched to 3 at the back and went with sort of 2 up front and stuff. So he no longer had a position for Diangana. He still played him occasionally in the number 10 role. Now Sam's in. He started him in the last game. Wasn't really effective. He was the first sub off. I don't think he's going to enjoy work. I don't know, actually. I'm in two minds because he does work hard, Diangana. He's got better tackling stats than Fornals, I think. He does track back a lot as well. So I think Allardyce might like him. It's how do you get the best out of him? I'm not sure. James, at Bearded Base Guy, could Anderson have new life with us as a left wing back since Basak is out for a long time?
Has he been talking to Alan? Is that Alan's? That's Alan, isn't it? Alan's created a new account. He's going to ask throughout this show every player. So we're going to get that next one will be can Balbuena be our new player at left wing back? Will be
someone's
the next one.
Someone's probably going to ask if Snodgrass can play left wing back.
David Martin. No, I really don't think so. There's something's afoot here. Something's fishy. Something's not quite right. To not be involved with Porto is odd. To not be on the bench is even more odd. But to be omitted from matchday squads altogether shows there's something wrong. I don't really know exactly what happened, but the sister getting involved with the agent, and the last thing you want in life, not just as a professional footballer, is if you're not getting into the team or you're not doing very well at work, is a member of your family coming along and wagging their finger at the boss, right? You know what I mean? The last thing, if my son is not in the football team, the last thing my son's football team needs is me walking out and going, wagging a finger, my son should be in the team. And, it's a bad look. And my son would be saying, oh, Dad, don't. That's embarrassing. And I wouldn't do it. I think that inherently is what has happened with Felipe Anderson. His sister's gone over to Portugal, wagged her finger and said, my brother should be in your team. It's not endearing. It doesn't endear him to the club. It doesn't endear him to the management. And it's quite telling that both the president, El Presidente, and the head coach have both pushed away from it. Where some of these footballers get their advice from, I don't know. Because if you ask anyone with an ounce of common sense, they would have said that's not a good thing to do. You speak to anyone, I'm going to do this, the sister's going to go over there. Tell the president what's what. Anybody would turn around and say, oh, no, don't do it. That's a bad idea. Bad, don't. Where do these people get their advice from? It's stupid. So if you put that awkward situation together with what I perceive to be a lack of footballing application, the desire to fight and all the rest of it, then I think it's a bad idea. And then you look at West Ham and all the fight and desire that we have in the team and the team cohesion and ethic. It's a bad fit. It's a bad fit at left wing. It's an even worse fit at left wing back, I would imagine.
I think the whole thing's been a disaster. I know we spoke about this a couple of months ago, but I think someone at West Ham's messed up here as well. Someone at West Ham allowed him to go on loan to Porto without almost doing their due diligence. We should have been able to work out if Felipe Anderson was going to play or not. We should have spoken to people, made sure it was the right club for him. Bear in mind, we're not dealing with a 17-year-old who just needs a little bit of game time here. We're dealing with someone that costs the club roughly £35 million. We needed him to go over there and, at the minimum, retain his market value, which was, approximately 20 million maybe. Just hold your market value. If you can get it back up a bit, fantastic. It's done the complete opposite. He's now worth next to nothing. He's a forgotten man. We might as well bring him back because he's not doing anything there. But what are we going to do with him? We don't need him at the squad, but we're going to try and loan him out to someone else. Where are we going to put him? It's an absolute disaster of a transfer.
And for David Moyes may well be saying, Sullivan might be saying to Moyes, and you understand this because they've both got a job to do, so Sullivan's got to try and protect this money. But I wouldn't be surprised if Sullivan's saying, look, you need to bring him back, I need to do something. If David Moyes is saying, look, you can do what you want, Mr. Chairman, but I cannot have him around the training ground. This is completely against what I've built.
Yeah.
It's a bad situation for everyone, for Felipe himself.
I'd be looking to flog him for whatever you can get for him in this window. We can recall him. I'd get him back and I'd be whacking him up for sale. Even if you only got 10 million or something, I think I'd take it because it's 10 million for a player who's not part of a squad that's performing reasonably well this season. So it's a bit like the greedy Diangana thing last season. I think Moyes was happy to cash in on Diangana because he didn't have him. It wasn't a player that Moyes had. So it was sort of 18 million for someone. Moyes has only met on a handful of occasions. Happy days. I think it's the same for Anderson this season. We no longer have Anderson. We no longer need Anderson. Therefore, any money we can get for him is money for a player that David Moyes doesn't require at West Ham. So 10 million is not much, but I'll tell you what, if that 10 million allows David Moyes to go get someone that is then going to be involved with the first team between now and the end of the season, I think it's worth doing. I know it's not as straightforward as that, but I think I'd be looking to sell him ASAP, and it's almost a case of what we can get, and we mark it down as an absolute error, a silly transfer to get him in. Well, he did all right in his first season here, to be fair. He's not always been a bad player, but the loan was poor. We chalk it up as an expensive lesson and we move on. It happens. It's not a big deal, and he won't be the last big transfer we get wrong either. John Williams, can Hammers Chat sign Sophie Rose from Chelsea TV on loan for the season? A couple of good reasons why.
Who's Sophie Rose?
I'm not sure, but John's been naughty. I shouldn't have read that.
I'm gonna go. What's her Sophie Rose?
Yeah, you can. Wait! Don't Google it yet. Go on incognito first, please.
Why?
For Mrs. Gonzo's searching your history purposes.
She won't care. She's not allowed down the man cave. Incognito. You're very quick then. Sophie. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
We'll trade her for Charlie.
Who said that?
John Williams.
What, John?
If we get an extra 50 patrons tonight, we'll see if we can arrange a transfer deal. Jack Johnson.
We'll pay her.
Jack Johnson just asking about Felipe Anderson. Here we go. Malcolm Bound. Do you foresee any of our youngsters playing for the first team this season?
Well, I guess we're not considering Ben Johnson to be one. If that's the case. Depends if we can get the striker thing sorted out. Just can't see how we can continue with Haller. I'd like to see Coventry. I'd like to see Harrison Ashby, and but I can't see it. I'd also like to see Holland. I'd like to see Nathan go out on loan this window actually. But those would be the ones. I mean, the centre backs. Look, we got to get people out on loan. That's what. Excuse me. That's what I'd like to do. These players, Baptista, and so on and so forth. Let's get these guys out on loan and see what they can do. I don't think they're gonna feature much. Particularly, we seem to be managing the squad quite well actually, and the team are doing well. I think if we get to near the end of the season and we can't qualify for Europe, and it's a difference between, I don't know, 10th and 8th or something like that, maybe we might see him.
Yeah, I agree with that. If it's sort of on the beach time at the end, Ashby, as you said, I think Alisi, I'd like to see him, the centre back. Langello's the left wing back. Are they good enough? I don't know, but I'd like to see them. In Mipo, that striker we got from Man United, I really want to see him, including against Man United, actually. Not Man United, against Stockport on Monday. I would like to see him against them, but I don't think do I think they'll get a chance? Not really. I think we've seen Ben Johnson's the first player eliminated from the bench when there's enough older players to fill the bench, and that suggests a lot of stuff to me. And the fact he played well, arguably he was man of the match, and the next game he's back on the bench, and I still think if Ben Johnson was 26, he would have continued at left back when switching to forward back, but because of his age, it's like, well, it's easy to drop him then, isn't it? So no, I don't see our youngsters getting a chance. Bill Hammond, do you think managers can lose and find form as players do? If so, has Moyes found his?
I think managers can. I don't think all managers, by the way. I think some are consistent. And the one that springs to mind as soon as you read that question, Geo, was Alan Pardew. Alan Pardew is one of the most form managers I can ever recall. Really, he's so streaky. I need to research this. All right, I need to make sure this is true but I think it might be, but I wouldn't put David Moyes into that category because, as I understand it, at West Ham, David Moyes has either never lost back-to-back games, or he's only done it once, or something like that. There's some stat there which indicates that even after he loses, he bounces back with a draw or a win or something like that, which would indicate actually he's a bit of a steady Eddie there. But Pardew was a weird one, you know. I mean, he would play so well, he'd make Newcastle. I mean, I like it at West Ham as well, but, you know, I remember at Reading, when he was manager of Reading, the same thing. But then with Newcastle, he had them going so well. Remember they signed that player, was it Cisse, as the geezer up front? Cisse, I mean, the geezer looked like the best striker in the world for a little bit, and Pardew had the whole team playing really well. Ashley was so thrilled. I gave him something either a 6-year or a 10-year contract or something ridiculous. I can't remember. It was a ridiculous contract that nobody ever gives football managers. And then I think he went and lost. I think he won for another half a season or something like that. Crazy streaky manager actually. So yeah, I do think some managers can. I do think that's a valid point, but not all of them.
Yeah, I think managers also have a shelf life in football. It's a belief I've got, and I think the best ones don't do that. I think the best ones tend to stay at the top for a long period of time, but I think most managers will go through 2 or 3 years when they're doing really well, then they'll just drop off because their tactics get found out, get a little bit outdated. Their staff perhaps leave, the ones that they need at the club, they're no longer with them and stuff. And I think managers tend to have a lifespan, manager that's top direction. But I don't know, that's just my own theory, really.
Can I just actually, while we're here, I know I'm sort of late to the party, but I just the other day started watching the Tottenham thing on Amazon. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, really good documentary. So I was really surprised how much access they seem to have got. And what's clear is, I've got to be honest with you, it's funny. You think you've got these ideas about people, and Mourinho's one of them. And it is funny. We often sit here and we don't think we know best. We often say we don't know best. But, you sit here and have opinions on football and opinions on different things. I mean, the guy is really clever. The guy's really smart. The guy is a fantastic manager. And you've seen him in meetings. You're seeing team meetings. You're seeing dressing room stuff. And you're seeing one-on-ones. You're seeing him on the training ground. And I do think there's an element of him playing up to the camera a bit. But it is him. You can see that. And it's been highly impressive to actually watch him. But what has been clear, even though I'm only 2 episodes in, is he got the new assistant manager in Sacramento, something like that, who was very, very highly thought of, very highly regarded. And you can already see 2 episodes in, this assistant manager is doing an awful lot for that team at Tottenham. And it looks as if he's played a really big part as well. So I think what you say is key. If you have got a trusted lieutenant, it happened to Rafa Benitez. All Rafa Benitez's success with Liverpool and stuff, where he's number 2, used to do all the tactics and stuff like that, he left, and then it sort of, gradual decline. So I think you make a really good point there about losing staff.
I think that's why I always think why Fergie did really well for a long period of time, because he would change his backroom staff. He would make sure he always had a new ideas guy almost.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid to chop and change his staff, and he'd go out and get the guy that was the best at this, the best at that, and he was happy. Once that got a bit stale, he'd change it up again. I don't know, that's why I always thought Fergie done well. Guy Smithhurst, where is Geo's daily Twitter transfer roundup? It needs to come back. I've not done it, Guy, because Twitter's got a bit touchy recently. It's lost its humour.
Has it?
Yeah, I don't mean recently. I mean the last year and a half or something. Do you think social media has just got a little bit it's got a bit snowflakey for my liking. I like my humour. Anything goes with my humour. I'm aware there's a line. I tend to cross it with some people like yourself, but generally on social media I don't mind being a bit naughty on there without pushing too much boundaries, but even then people just get upset about everything. It's just a bit, I won't bother then, so can't really be arsed with it. And a lot of people don't understand it's not real, it's fake. The rumours, I'm taking the piss, so nah, I might do it, but everybody's just a bit touchy. Sort of.
No, well, yeah. If you're going to get abuse, why you do it? It's not worth doing it, is it?
Oh, I don't get abused. People act as if I'm abusing them. I call
offended. Everyone's offended. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I called the last one. I called that Musa Marega guy. We won't get linked with him. I called him the Portuguese Heskey. Someone genuinely got really upset about it. Oh, why don't you just back him if we sign him? Blah, blah, blah. Hang on a minute. What's wrong with Emil Heskey anyway? Heskey was good.
I got accused a couple of days ago. I literally was a football opinion, and it wasn't even anything like that. It was such and such a player is probably not good enough to play at such and such a team, and somebody said I was being disrespectful, and it was a football opinion, and I just said I'm not insulted the guy's gran. or anything like that. And the ridiculous thing was, I'd actually spent 15 minutes in a video praising this player, but I'd paid one sentence, I think. And Tommy told me, Irish Tommy said it's called quote mining. It's called quote. You look for one. So you 15-minute video, and the one bit where I said, however, I don't really think he's probably good enough to play at Real Madrid, which is not an insult. I said that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
You know, and it is hard. You are constantly trying to, but I'm not going to balance it up. I'm not, because I think the moment you do that, and the moment you I understand why you won't do the Twitter thing, but in the moment you try and pitch a level of conversation and try and go somewhere that's not going to upset anyone, I think, and it's just a case where if you are going to quote mine to that extent and miss the whole gist of everything that's been said, and if you're going on your one, you're going to miss the whole joke of the transfer roundup. It's.
I get to some extent. My jokes, like I said, I know I can push boundaries a bit. I like to make jokes about Maddie McCann, Oscar Pistorius having no legs. I like to make jokes about stuff like that. I remember doing one about the Maddie McCann, and someone said, "Well, how would you like it if you can't say stuff like that? That's disgusting. How would you like it when your children went missing?" I said, "Well, I wouldn't leave them in the flat and go for a pint for a few hours, would I?" So I was like, this isn't really, Twitter's not really the place for me anymore. I think
no, but it's definitely not the place for me. That's for sure.
Yeah, so it's just people just get a bit too easily offended for me nowadays, unfortunately. But anyway, Mikey John. Mikey says, aside from pinball for Gonzo, what's been your favourite way of filling your time during lockdown?
Aside from the pinball,
you don't do anything except pinball.
Sorry,
you don't do anything except pinball.
I talk about pinball.
I think tomorrow you're going to be looking up Sophie Rose.
I've already looked up Sophie. She's the star on the. She's saved in favourites. No, she's not. I'd actually completely forgot her name since she said that. But I've been watching a bit of telly. Sorry, who asked? Who asked the question?
What have you been doing?
Yeah, no. Who asked the question?
Mikey,
sorry, Mikey. Been watching a lot of telly. To be fair, I think haven't we all? I've just started recently. I say just started. I've almost finished the War of the Worlds, which was on Fox. That's quite good. Although it's half made by Canal Plus, half made by Fox, so it's half English, half French, which has been educational, I'd say least. But it's very, very good. Yeah, watching box sets and films and much like isn't everybody? There's you're stuck indoors, so yeah, lots of that really, to be honest with you. But lots of pinball as well.
I've just been working. My life hasn't changed. Lockdown means nothing to me. I go sleep, I wake up, I go work, I come home and I go sleep and repeat. That's pretty much it. I like I said, I'm aware I'm fortunate enough to have a job and stuff, but when people say what have you done and stuff, I've done nothing, absolutely nothing. I'll skip these ones, we've been doing these. Chris Butcher, Dawson or Balbuena?
Balbuena still, I think. He's only played 2 games, Dawson, but well done, Dawson. 2 clean sheets, lovely.
Yeah, Balbuena for me as well. Adam Brown says Josh King or Marco back?
Who's Marco back? Josh King.
Yeah, King for me as well. Ross just asked about it. Ray says, what is the best and worst purchases you've ever made?
What, Ray? Raymondo?
Yeah, our Ray.
Probably that Robinson squash that you got on your kitchen side. I bought some of that once, right? No, I'm only joking. Ray was on the video. Ray was on the watch along with Charlie the other day, and I popped on there and I was asking Ray to show me around his kitchen, and he'd done all the washing up. He was ever so good, Ray. Done all the washing up and everything. Ray's girlfriend jumped on a live video once and started dobbing him in, which was quite funny. What did Ray ask?
What's the best and worst purchases we've ever made? I mean, it's quite a big question, really.
Oh, okay. Worst. Okay. I'll tell you worst. I'll tell you exactly worst. Worst purchase I ever made was for my wife, and I purchased her a Volkswagen. I think it was a Touran. It was called. It just broke and then broke and then broke and then broke, and then you couldn't get it fixed.
The car or the wife?
Both. The best purchase I think I've ever made is something called a rock box, which is a pizza oven, which is just, it's so good. You know, I cook everything in it, steaks, chicken. It's the only way you could ever do proper Nando's chicken when you buy the stuff, because the oven don't get quick enough. Pizza. I bought this thing. I even use it in the winter. It's fantastic. So even the missus said, you know, because I'm a bit of a gadget freak, Geo. Like, if I see something, oh, that's nice, I might try and buy that. She said, you know, she's even said that is the one thing I can think you've bought and you've used. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, those would be my two. What about your two?
The best. When I was a young boy, do you know when MP3 players first come out? I bought an MP3 player, and I have to say that would be up there. I loved it. You know, a little AA battery in the back, only holds 80 songs or something. Brilliant.
Before my time, mate.
Get on the old LimeWire to get your songs downloaded on LimeWire.
The what?
LimeWire.
The LimeWire?
Yeah. We all had LimeWire. Download songs for free. Didn't know if it was a virus or not, but you just downloaded it anyway, and then suddenly your computer went off. You thought, they got me again. You turn it back on, it's not working. LimeWire. Download the old songs on LimeWire, get them onto your MP3, and away I go off doing my paper and my MP3 player on. Loved it. Revolutionary.
Yeah, okay, that's a good answer.
My worst. I'll tell you what it is. It wasn't. It's not my worst purchase. It was a gift. It's a bit bad to say this, really, but do you know those?
I watch it.
Do you know there's West Ham Late? Do you know those books you get? They're like photocopies of newspaper cuttings over the years. They're like £80 and stuff. I got one of them. It's crap. I think I went, yeah, all right.
Are they watching? Whoever got it for you? This?
Possibly.
Well, you ain't thought that one through.
But it's rubbish. It's just one of them things you get
I know, but they ain't got to know that.
You get it, and you're like. And then I'm now behind my book. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, of course. I can't see you. Okay, all right.
In your head, you're like, fucking iPods come out. Can we not got one of them?
Wipe your bum with it. Wipe your bum with it.
Yeah.
When there was a toilet paper shortage. I've got that book.
Yeah, right, anyway, YouTube questions. Dave Goodyear, who are we going to replace Snodgrass? Oh, we've done that. Dylan, are we going to talk about the left back tonight, lads? I really believe if we get a Soufal type on the left of the defensive duties of Fornals, will be subsided, and then we can focus on being a threat on both flanks.
Well, firstly, apologies to Dave for Geo dismissing poor old Davy boy there. As for the second question, I don't think we will, but it does make absolute sense that would liberate the left-hand side and we wouldn't be so reliant on Fornals. I don't think so. Just the way that Moyes has been talking, if you listen to the way Moyes is speaking, it's that Masuaku is pivotal to the way we play. Those are not the words of a man that's looking for a new left-sided defender.
Someone just mugged you right off in a live chat. I'll get onto that in a minute. I'll get that off in a minute. Arthur says, should cheese footballs be sold all year round?
They shouldn't be manufactured.
Are
they processed balls of cheese?
Yeah, do you know they're like a football-shaped what's it, aren't they?
Well, that should be illegal. It should be legislated against. That's bad food.
Tom Russell, do you think we should be looking at a successor to Rice now ahead of the summer, just in case he goes? And who would be your realistic pick?
I would be amazed, absolutely amazed, if we didn't know already. It would show. I don't actually mean it as a dig. When I say be amazed, there is no way that David Moyes and his coaching staff haven't highlighted Declan Rice's replacement. Who should it be? I find that quite tough. Ever since you said the fella at Brighton, I've watched him. I even watched Brighton's last game just to watch him, but they were crap actually. He wasn't in particular. And I've seen somebody else, but the name escapes me now. The name escapes me. I watched a game of football the other day, which is quite rare for me. Oh, who was it? It was a Premier League game. I saw someone in a Premier League game. I thought, oh, they're pretty good. But I can't remember now. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I like to think we've got someone lined up as well. Basuma Brighton's my first choice. My second choice would be Anguissa Fulham. I think both of them really, really talented, get about the pitch really well. I think they would both be good. They wouldn't cost as much as Declan either. I think you get them for half the price you're signing Declan Rice for. But Basuma's the one that I'd spend a lot of money on. He's really young, really talented, really energetic. He's a defensive midfielder as well. I think that's what I want to see. I don't want to see us bring in another Souček almost. You want someone that's a bit better defensively than what Souček is, and I think Basuma is that.
I'd call him Satsuma if we signed him.
Okay, you can call him Satsuma if you wish.
I will. I'm telling you, I will.
Dave Goodyear says, would you, given the choice, have some of our summer transfer money now to get our playing squad options a bit better and potentially try and push for Europa League spots / a proper FA Cup push, or would you keep it as it is with a foreign loan signing or two and finish mid-table?
Yeah, I'll always take the money as early as possible if people are available. I don't believe this. It's a bit of a cliche. It's a bit like 42 points for safety, isn't it? They get cliches. There's no deals to be done in a January transfer window. That's nonsense. We brought Souček and Bowen in last January transfer window. There are deals to be done. So if we've seen somebody and they're available, why I don't see the point in waiting to if your dream purchase. Don't even matter if it's don't even have to be a football player. Your dream purchase is now. If your MP3 player is available now, and you can get the money now, go and buy it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't care. It's not my money. It's not our money, Dave. To be honest with you, so if we can get it out the owners now to get a purchase, because David Moyes thinks it makes a difference. Absolutely. For the FA Cup, yeah, desperately, as you know, mate, I desperately want to win the FA Cup. Europa, I don't know. I don't think we're ready for it yet in terms of the squad depth. I'd almost, and I know that that's contradictory, because if you win the FA Cup, you qualify for Europe. I understand that, but I'm not sure. It's not. I don't want to win the FA Cup so as we qualify for Europe. I just want the glory of winning the trophy in that sense. In terms of squad depth, in terms of travel, and everything that is involved in that, I'm not sure we need Thursday night football and all the rest of it. But I do wonder if European football, just on a slightly separate note, I think European football has to take a little look at itself and think, actually, these group stages and things like that, they actually need to halve the games. They just need, you get drawn against someone like in the old days, you play one game and it's luck of the draw whether you're home or away. I think particularly with travel restrictions as they are now, they really need to sort that out, because it doesn't seem feasible.
If you're in the live chat, if you're watching this live, you've got any questions, get them into the live chat. I'll be turning to that in a minute. I think I'd leave the transfer kitty alone until the summer, actually, because if we do qualify for Europa League, I think you can then attract a better calibre of player. I know a lot of people say Europa League, really, blah blah. Well, Leicester got Fofana over us, didn't they? And the only thing they've got is Europa League football. Yes, okay, they've got better training facilities, so on and so forth. But I'd imagine we've got bigger wages. But he turned us down to go to Leicester for a reason, and I would suggest it is because they are playing some form of European football. Went out to the Marseille centre back and got told, "Have you got European football?" No, piss off. I'll wait. I'll just wait for another team to come get me then. So I do think the squad and so on and so forth we've got at the minute, the form we're in, I think we're capable of an FA Cup push if we wanted to. We will have to sacrifice a few league points, but I want to see us do that. I would love Moyes to say, come out and say, FA Cup's my priority now. We've got ourselves into a good position, and do what Pardew did. You've got to rest a few players in order to go for the FA Cup and lose a few points. Do it. I think the fans will understand, but if your priority is Europa League, unfortunately, you're probably going to have to sack off the FA Cup. You've got the...
You're going to have to what?
Sack off the FA Cup.
Oh, right.
I think you're going to have to. I don't think you can do both. I think you'll come up short if you do both. I think you've got to pick one and go for it. And I hope it's the FA Cup he goes for as well. Hammer1999 chucked £3 into the biscuit fund. Thank you, my friend. And he says, which outfield player would make the best keeper at West Ham?
I reckon Mikel Antonio would. He could do everything else.
I think it'd be Souček for some reason. Yeah. He's tall. That always helps.
Yeah. I'll go. I think Antonio. Yeah, definitely. I think he'd be a good keeper.
Andy Walsh, if Lampard is sacked by Chelsea, is the interest in Rice end?
I hope so, Andy. I hope so. It's for certain. But if you look at what Abramovich does, is Abramovich is highly likely to bring in a foreign coach. The likelihood of a foreign coach coming in and highlighting Declan Rice as the first person they want to sign, or the answer to Chelsea's problems, is very unlikely. You got to remember, N'Golo Kante has got a huge reputation on the continent. He's played so well when he plays for France as well. I have a feeling that there's nothing wrong with Chelsea's squad. I have a feeling that there's very little that needs to be done, and actually a lot of managers will come into there and get them challenging for the title without really having to buy anyone. You don't look at that squad and think, oh, they really need a defensive midfielder. They've got one. You don't, oh, they really need a world-class striker. They've got one. World-class wingers, they've got them. World-class defenders, they've got top quality in every position. I look at that team and I think the problem ain't the players. So, yeah, I'm not necessarily. I'm hopeful that they wouldn't be so desperate to get him, that's for sure. But Andy's playing so well now, he's now become appealing to lots of other people aside from Chelsea as well, mate.
Yeah, I actually think Chelsea not doing very well is actually a bad thing for their pursuit of Declan Rice, because unless Lampard gets sacked, of course, but should Lampard not get sacked and Chelsea still struggle, what that does is allow Lampard and the other people at Chelsea to turn around and say, it's not finished. The overhaul of this club, of the squad, is not finished yet. What are we missing? And it is a defensive midfielder. When you look at their squad, it is someone in that defensive midfield role. Whereas if they were sitting top of the league right now, it would be the other way around. Well, you don't need anyone else. Look, you're doing perfectly fine. You're doing really well. You don't need anyone else now. So I actually think Chelsea's struggling is a bad thing for West Ham. And either Lampard gets sacked, or I think their pursuit of Declan Rice will get ramped up, actually. Because I think if anything, Lampard at the minute, well, it is his performances as well. He can also say, well, hang on a minute, he's almost justified needing a defensive midfielder because he doesn't like Jorginho. Kovacic can't play that precise role, and Conte's he's just not good enough anymore. He just got ripped apart by Man City at the weekend. They dragged him all over the shop. So I think Lampard's almost justified in trying to sign Declan Rice to Chelsea. So I don't think it's a good thing, actually. Irish Tommy, so the defence midfielder in the Premier League you'd rather have than Declan Rice?
I don't know. I'm still trying to think of this bloody player that I watched play the other day.
Well, what game did you watch? Can you remember?
I can't even remember now. I can't even remember.
What day was it?
I can't remember. I'm going to look at the Premier League just to see if.
What, you're going to look at the clubs in the Premier League?
I'm going to look at the matches in the Premier League. Yeah, I'm going to see what one I might have. What one I might have watched. Do you know what? I did watch that Wolves and Brighton game. Was it? I did. I just watched that. I remember watching Wolves again. I think I desperately would love Traore to play for West Ham. I know it can never happen. I don't know. I'm struggling a bit.
Are you sure it wasn't Basuma you watched?
I did watch Satsuma as well, but there was someone else. It's doing my head in.
Well, Wolves would have played Neves Moutinho in midfield, and Brighton played Basuma and Ben White in there. Ben White was centre midfield for them that day.
Maybe it's Leeds. I don't. I did watch Arsenal play as well the other day. Maybe I watched them play against Brighton. But I can't remember actually. Anyway. I don't watch enough football to know really, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'd be amazed if we hadn't had our eye on someone.
I think better than Rice. Is there anyone I'd prefer to have than Rice? No, that's the question. Is there anyone you prefer? No, we didn't. Because I like Declan. I think he's a good personality as well. But is there anyone better than Declan? Which is not the question I asked. But I think Fabinho's better, and I think Ndidi's better. I do think Ndidi is unbelievable as a defensive midfielder. That's the only two I think is better than him, though. But I would still prefer to have Declan than those, simply because I love him. Simple as that. Right, let me just skip back because I missed a few questions there because that was a long answer. Rudy, Alan is watching. He said he's watching it with the missus and she's trying hard to stay interested. So she asks, is it acceptable to have chips and mashed potato in the same meal at Nando's?
Nando's don't do mashed potato, do they?
They must do.
Nando's don't do mashed potato. No, I think the Mrs. Allen. I think we've met Mrs. Allen. We've met Mrs. Allen, Geo.
We have.
Hello. I think the think the question is, it's a carbohydrate question, really. So I don't know if they do mash at Nando's. I don't recall it. Maybe it's just a South Coast thing. But can you have rice and chips at Nando's is the question. Can you have the peri chips? Oh, I've got something to tell you about peri chips. Raymondo told me this. Anyway, can you have the peri chips and the rice, which is the double carb? The answer is yes, of course. Now, Raymondo told me and Charlie that the chips at Nando's are microwave chips. They're not fried. They're microwave. The chips you get at Nando's are microchips.
Well, I'm not eating that again.
Well, there you go. I mean, this is it. And I said, no, surely not. And he said, have you ever seen a fryer? Now, normally, if somebody said to me, have you ever seen a fryer in a restaurant? I don't know. I don't see the restaurant, but at Nando's you do. So you've got the counter there. You're watching them. There's no fryer. They must be microwave chips. I'm feeling ripped off now.
I'm not buying chips there. But to answer her question, no, I don't think you can have chips and mash together. No. That's a no for me. Silly question. I think she's definitely switched off now then, isn't she? She's definitely not watching this anymore. Dave, do you think Mark Noble will get a new deal? Could be a really sad end if he retires without having a proper send-off with a full stadium.
No, I think that would be a shame. But they're two, you don't have to do both. You don't have to give him a whole nother year's contract just to give him a send-off in the stadium. I think you can still give him a job on the coaching team or whatever the case may be and give him a send-off in the stadium. That's my view on it. My view on Noble hasn't changed. If we get to the end of the season and he's just not playing at all, then you can't give him a new deal to play. You can't. I think he stays on the staff. I know. He stays on the staff for ages. If you get to the end of the season, and actually, Mark Noble is starting every other game. I don't think anyone expects Mark Noble to start every game. If you get to the end of the season, and the last 10 games, Mark Noble started every other game, and he's had impacts, and he's scored some penalties and done his bit, and he's, you look back and you think, actually, in the last month, he's played 300 minutes of Premier League football. Then you look at it and he's getting a deal. If you get to the end of the season and you look at it and think, well, actually, Mark Noble hasn't actually paid for six weeks or something, no, you can't get a deal, can he, really?
And Mark Boundy just said that's why they always play that poxy music at Nando's to hide the microwave dinging in the background. I just like the word dinging.
We know what he means. Who doesn't have a microwave that dings?
Yeah, but it's just dinging. So I like that word, actually. Yeah. Dinging. I'll have to hide it dinging in the mic. That's what I remember watching a Gordon Ramsay thing. And he was going in, he was cursing and swearing and throwing all the plates around, and he kept saying, "Who's made this?" And they all kept saying, "Chef Mike." And he was going, "Who's made this?" And they said, "Oh, Chef Mike." So, and in the end, he's like, "Where is Chef Mike? Who's Mike? Get me Mike." And they're all standing there, and they're like, "Who's Chef Mike?" And I'm like, "The microwave, we call it Chef Mike." Just rip the thing off the wall. What was the question? Mark Noble, yeah, do you know something? If that's the case, I'm starting a GoFundMe to raise enough money for a year of Mark Noble wages so we can keep him on the books.
A GoFundMe for a millionaire?
Yes.
A multi-millionaire?
Because to be there for his last game is priceless, Gonzo.
You can still go there for his last game. You can still have...
I don't want to go there when he's in the dugout doing coaching stuff. I'm not... No. I've been trying to emotionally prepare myself about 5 years for Mark Noble's last ever game. I am not missing it.
But you wouldn't know where it is. He might get an injury. You might do the last thing and he gets an injury. He misses the last 3.
He will come on.
There for that game.
The last
no.
Well,
have a testimonial. Have a testimonial, for goodness sake.
He's had one. You can't have another one.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, you can. There's special circumstances.
I don't want a
special servants at a club. Anyone can have 2 testimonials. It's Mark Noble.
No, I don't want a special circumstances game for him. I want him.
I'm not putting any money in. I'm not putting any money into your GoFundMe for Mark Noble at all.
Well, that's not very kind, is it?
Oh, I am kind, but honestly, I'm not.
A week after Christmas and already the festive season of goodwill is over and done with in the Gonzo shed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm going to be selling your pinball machine and putting the money in.
It's not my pinball machine. You can't see.
I need to see him last ever game at West Ham at home in a competitive fixture. I don't care if he has to come onto the pitch with crutches. He can be the first ever player to go on the pitch with crutches in a Premier League game, even just for 2 minutes, then get subbed back off again. That will do me. I'm not having Mark Noble leave without me in that ground. I will break
I think he probably feels the same, Gio. He's probably saying exactly the same thing. I'm not going to leave here without me with my crutch coming on the pitch with my crutch and Gio watching. That's probably he's saying exactly the same thing. You are a
horrible man to allow Mark Noble to finish with no crowd.
I am not allowing. I am not look, coming on the pitch and finishing and all. Look, I am not a horrible man. I'm not denying him that. All right? I'm just saying when you create the GoFundMe, all right, to put to buy Mark Noble his 8th yacht. I will not be putting any money.
It's not for Mark Noble. Mark Noble won't take the money. He'll give it to the food bank. He does that anyway. It's to give David Sullivan money because that little man syndrome will not allow. He will not look at it and go, "Oh, that's a lot of money." But for someone that's giving this much year's service, it's worthwhile doing. He won't look at it. The guy's getting rid of Robert Snodgrass to save 50 grand in the next 6 months.
If I was David Sullivan, I'd say thank you, G. I've taken your GoFundMe.
He'll look at it.
I'm going to buy myself an additional swimming pool.
Sullivan will look at that and think, Mark Noble's on 50 grand a week. That is, over the year, that's 52 away ties at Everton in the Cup.
I wouldn't blame him for that. Listen, I'm all having a go at David Sullivan, but absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Well, next time he complains about lack of loyalty, I will be reminding him how he treated Mark Noble. I'll say, really, Dave, mate?
He's not done anything yet, and neither have I. And so let's calm down.
Well, you're getting me worked up. This
you may well be by the end of the season. They might have allowed 10 fans in, and they can. When Mark Noble does his little, he probably won't be able to do the full lap of honour because you won't be able to go that far. So they probably just have to walk around a little centre circle. There'll be the 10 fans in there. You won't be able to clap loud because it'll be against the rules. So there'll be the 10 fans in there with their masks on.
Forget that. Listen, I've seen highlights of America tonight. I'm getting in touch with the leaders of those, whatever you want to call it, those raids in the capital.
What capital? What raids? Well, I know what the capital of America is, but
surely you've seen this.
Don't call me Shirley.
Anyway, you look it up. There's a civil war waiting to happen in America tonight.
I've still got Sophie Rose in the search banner. There's a civil war.
Yeah, pretty much. Just Google it.
A civil war.
They're in the capital. The protesters are in the capital. Anyway, I'm getting those protesters over to get me into the London Stadium for Mark Noble's last ever game. Sorted.
In America, they're protesting about Mark Noble.
Well, I will be protesting anyway about Mark Noble if that's what happens.
They might pay. So you should take a little collection box over there. They might put some money in for your little collection.
Now everybody's talking about America. Anyway, Andy Walsh is asking if you donate some Pringles.
Andy, I tell you what. Giant Pringles, my friend. Giant Pringles.
What is even in there?
There's not Pringles, really. It's a massive Toblerone.
Stevie C, which current player would be best suited to being a YouTuber?
Snodgrass, but he's not a current player. He's gone.
I think Ryan Fredericks, actually. I think Ryan Fredericks is really funny. I think he's often wheeled out in these kind of things. So is Andy Creswell. Them two tend to get wheeled out for stuff like this.
He's got very immaculate hair, Cresswell, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just totally immaculate. I keep looking at Cresswell and just hoping to see a couple of hairs have fallen out, so he's receding a bit. Nothing. He's got the hair of a 22-year-old.
Hammer 1999. Is Gonzo taller than David Sullivan?
Significantly. I am, believe it or not, I am actually slightly taller than David Gold.
You are. I can confirm that you're slightly taller than David Gold.
And David Gold is significantly, believe it or not, David Gold is significantly taller than David Sullivan. I am not a tall man, but David Sullivan is without a shadow of a doubt one of the smallest people I've ever seen. He's I think, I don't know what, 5'1", 5'2", so I don't know. He's very, very small.
David goes up to my shoulder, I think. When there are people that are watching this don't know, we met him at the reservation centre the very first day. Non-season ticket holders, Upton Park, went to get season tickets for the London Stadium. me and Gonzo were there. We went in, we got ours sorted out. We were sort of getting ready to leave, and the head of media at the time at West Ham turned up and asked us if we could hang on a little bit because David Gold was turning up, and so was Sky Sports News. So could we hang around to potentially do interviews with Sky Sports News? So we said okay. So David Gold, of course, comes in, and he caused a riot because he wanted a Red Bull. there was a bit of an issue with David Gold. He asked for a Red Bull, and I think the head of media said something like, "Are you sure, Mr. Chairman? You've already had 2." And he's like, "I want another Red Bull." So there you have it. But yeah, so David Gold was there, and we ended up on Sky Sports News for a little bit.
And I was stood next to him on Sky, so you could actually get someone screenshot. I found a picture the other day, and you and me with the scarves and the hats.
Yeah,
we
got our wig on. We got the wig on.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. There's a picture of me and Sky Sports News stood next to David, towering over David Gold.
Fun times, isn't it? Irish Tommy, which player of the last 10 years did you grow most fond of?
Oh, I mean, James Collins. I was when he climbed into the crowd and gave his shirt, and I loved that, and Fornells, who did a similar thing. I just like players connecting with the fans. I really do. I think it's so easy to become rich and famous and then worry and detach yourself and be suspicious of the fans. I mean, even before this, remember, the railings going up Upton Park, so people have to get autographs through iron bars. I found that strangely symbolic, actually. I never really liked that. If I had to go back further than that, it would be David James for a story I'm sure I've told too many times on Hammers Chat anyway. But yeah, Ginger Pele was a hell of a guy, really, wasn't he? And for him to go to games as well and go to away games and stand with a crowd, and there's something special about that. I think you're then crossing the boundaries between player and fan, and that I love.
Reece Burke was similar as well. Reece Burke would go in the away fans and stuff, even when he got sold. I think he left, and I think he was still in the away fans for a little bit. I know he's not been spotted that game for a while, but then A, would anyone recognise him now, and B, he obviously plays football at the same time as we're playing football and stuff, but he was one of those players and stuff. Don't know, Jordan Hugo as well, believe it or not, he's just one of those characters, isn't he? It's people like that. They buy into the club. The people that buy into the club is worth their weight in gold. There was that women's West Ham footballer, Tassel. I wish Abby was here for that.
Tassel.
I can't remember her name, but when she arrived.
Tassel.
When she arrived, they gave her the number 6 shirt, and she got the number 6 shirt. And then she read about Bobby Moore. This is a nice story.
I'm sorry.
When she read about Bobby Moore, she handed the number 6 shirt back. Said, "I don't want that. The number 6 is retired." And actually, that type of thing, I like that type of thing. Are you finished giggling yet?
It's nice. It's classy. Other things were going through my head. Things.
Sophie Rose, clearly.
Oh, sure as shit.
Anyway, 1 or 2 more questions, then we're going to disappear for the night. Abdullah says, get rid of these owners and get good owners, or win the league.
I'm happy to win the league. No, I don't. It depends on what we're saying. If we get good owners, we don't ever win anything. Look, I've got to be honest with you. I've got to be a bit selfish here. You get to a certain age as a West Ham fan, and you think, please win something before I die. All right? And there'll be a lot of West Ham fans watching this thinking, yeah.
I think anyone with a cough would be agreeing with you right now as well.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I'd say, mate, if you guarantee, I'm not sure I'll see West Ham win anything in my lifetime. If you're going to turn around and tell me they are going to win something, and that is going to be the league, bring it on. Yes, please. West Ham be the best team in the country over 38 games. Yes, please.
Yeah, I guess so. They're not going to be here forever, regardless of if we win the title or not, are we? So might as well win the title before they piss off, kind of thing. JH, what would mean more, winning the FA Cup or going on a European tour?
Winning the FA Cup. By some considerable distance.
what I want to do most. I want to win the FA Cup more than I want to win the title.
It's just the significance of the day out, the glory. We need some glory. We need the day. We West Ham fans. We have put in the long miles. We've put in the suffering. We've done so much. We really. No one is owed a trophy, right? But come on, we've waited a long time. I want to. Look, I was alive when we won the FA Cup. I remember watching it on telly, but I don't have a proper memory of it. I want a memory of it. I want to, breathe every minute of the whole process, really. So, yeah, and particularly now where we have this that we do now, and everything is recorded in HD, and you can watch every goal from loads of different angles, and yeah, FA Cup. Come on, let's do that.
Anyway, shall we wrap it up there? If you've enjoyed this episode of Cup of Tea, drop a like, comment, subscribe new around here. We've got the Stockport preview coming up Saturday night. I think some Monday games in theory should be Saturday, depending on our availability. So we'll have the Stockport preview. Different FA Cup start on this weekend, so that should be good.
Good. I am looking forward to it. Are we televised?
Yeah, I think most games are. I think we'll be on BT. I think BT have got most of the FA Cup games.
Good for them. Good for us. Mug of tea?
Yes, we've got a mug of tea tomorrow night, which is for the patrons. So patrons, you're watching this, got a mug of tea coming tomorrow night. If you're not a patron,
get your questions in for that, by the way, please.
Yes, and if you're not a patron, you want to become one, the link's in the description below. Thanks to everybody. Now's the best time to join up, actually. I'm not just saying this, it is the best time, because you pay when you join, then you pay in the first of the month. So you join now, you get 3 weeks of content before you have to pay again, whereas you join in the last week, you get a week of content before you have to pay again. So it's the best time.
But somebody did join up. Yes, I can't remember. He was on Twitter. Maybe his name was Ben. I can't quite remember.
Aslan.
Sorry, it was Aslan, wasn't it? Aslan said I saw like 230 posts. He's basically got 230 of West Ham videos to catch up on Hammers checks. He's just joined. So good luck with that.
Anyway, Gonzo, I'll see you tomorrow night.
You will. Look forward to it.
Take care of yourself, and we'll catch you in a bit.